Last night, a senior ExxonMobil lobbyist, covertly recorded by Greenpeace UK, revealed how he reels in senators like fish to do the company's bidding. How Exxon continues to fight climate science, even as Joe Biden tries to get groundbreaking climate laws through Congress. Tonight, that lobbyist, Keith McCoy, says he's deeply embarrassed by his comments. There's no excuse for what I said or how I said it. I apologize to all my colleagues. The initial response from Exxon was to attack Greenpeace and deny these disclosures reflect its strategy. Then, late last night, ExxonMobil suddenly and unusually apologized. CEO Darren Woods writing, "We condemn the statements and are deeply apologetic for them, including comments regarding interactions with elected officials. We're shocked by these interviews." Tonight, more major revelations. First, America's biggest oil company secretly uses what are known as forever chemicals. They're used by industry in everything from non-stick pans through waterproof clothing to cosmetics, even though safer alternatives now exist. Per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances, PFAS, linked by independent research to cancer, hormone disruption, weakened immunity, and they're called forever chemicals because they stay in the environment forever.
We manufacture PFAS, the chemical. We use it in our firefighting equipment.
A dramatic disclosure that the company uses forever chemicals, so toxic they've become the stuff of Hollywood.
How many did you lose?
190.
190 cows.
You tell me nothing's wrong here.
The film Dark Waters, the true story of a town contaminated by these forever chemicals. But forget Hollywood. Just this week, the US president addressed the scourge of forever chemical pollution across America.
We're also going to surge federal resources to help address the forever chemicals, not just here, but all across America.
You know, there's no cleaning it up. So, I mean,
So this is Keith McCoy, a senior ExxonMobil lobbyist on Capitol Hill, being covertly recorded by Greenpeace UK, who suddenly realized he's just made a dramatic claim.
Do people know that Exxon makes that chemical at all? No one
Nope.
knows.
Nope.
So
Nobody.
Yesterday, ExxonMobil flatly denied actually making forever chemicals. Today they clarified, saying they do use forever chemicals in some of their products.
You've managed to lobby successfully on that while keeping it completely...
The good thing is that the debate isn't who makes it. There isn't the debate right now about who manufactures it, thankfully.
That's because ExxonMobil covertly killed the debate in Congress. How? Well, first they saw approaching danger, a Congress about to pass laws on forever chemicals.
And we're like, holy crap, this is legislation, this is a chemical that we manufacture, this is a chemical that we use. If word got out that ExxonMobil manufactured those chemicals, it's a talking point.
Yeah.
You know, it becomes the ExxonMobil chemical. Then all of a sudden, they start talking about how this is an ExxonMobil chemical and ExxonMobil is poisoning our waterways. The debate's pretty much over.
So that public scrutiny had to be stopped fast. They needed someone to stamp it out. So send in the faceless trade body. Cue the powerful American Petroleum Institute, the API.
So API goes up to the Hill as API with coalitions. It's just associations, no companies. But the public face of it are the associations. They go to the Hill, and that tamps down the rhetoric. It tamps down the excitement.
And the prize, pressure Congress to kick the can down the road, delay laws on forever chemicals by commissioning a study.
Lo and behold, we got a study, we got it passed. And that completely lowered the temperature. There's been very little talk about PFAS.
Take risks.
The API told Channel 4 News they're out front and transparent about where the oil and gas industry stands on policy issues. And it's not only toxic chemicals legislation that needs to be delayed for Exxon, there's also United States foreign policy. It's 2014. Russia invades eastern Ukraine. In the corridors of power on Capitol Hill, senators demand sanctions on Moscow. The company's CEO at the time was proud of Exxon's personal relationships with President Putin.
He understands that I'm a businessman, and I've invested a lot of money, our company has invested a lot of money in Russia very successfully.
But he didn't disclose that Exxon had mounted its own intervention into America's democratic process. Sanctions had to be confronted.
No member of Congress wanted to oppose that.
Yeah.
So we had to step in front of that and explain to them how that was hurting U.S. businesses.
Yeah.
So we had a friend who happened to be chair of a very powerful committee who was able to step in front of this, what we call the runaway train,
Yeah.
and was able to use a political maneuver to slow it down.
And guess what? It worked.
The bill passed, but it didn't hurt some of our operations, which was key.
Exxon admitted to Channel 4 News that it did intervene covertly in Congress over Russian sanctions. It said to inform policymakers on potential unintended consequences sanctions can have on US businesses.
Natural gas, powering our lives while reducing emissions by up to 60%.
But ExxonMobil doesn't always operate under the radar. Sometimes they're totally upfront about being at odds with science. Take natural gas, universally recognized as a major source of CO2 pollution.
On a clean electricity standard, we think natural gas will play a key role in anything, and not just as a bridge fuel.
But it doesn't.
We think it's a low emission energy source and should be part of a clean electricity standard.
The oil giant's own plans, leaked last year, show a $210 billion investment, pushing the company's yearly emissions up by 17% by 2025. ExxonMobil told us natural gas reduces global emissions because it's cleaner than coal. And then there's plastics.
In some parts of the ocean, it's estimated that there are now over 1 million pieces of plastic for every square mile.
As the world wakes up to the dangers of global plastic pollution, ExxonMobil sees a different world.
Absolutely. Plastics, every aspect of plastics is a huge business. It is going to grow. Plastics are the future.
Faced with possible bans on plastic products, the strategy is to sow doubt, delay, and deflection. We will do with plastics what we did with the climate crisis.
It's just like on climate change, right? So when climate change came, is here, when it started, you start to have conversations to say, well, you can't completely change the electric grid from coal and gas into wind, and here's why. It's the same conversation. You can't ban plastics because here's why.
Exxon, again, unapologetic on this, telling us plastics provide significant sustainability benefits versus other materials. Once upon a time, ExxonMobil's strategy was openly to sow doubt about humans causing climate change.
Proponents of the global warming theory say that higher levels of greenhouse gases, especially CO2, are causing world temperatures to rise and that burning fossil fuels is the reason. But scientific evidence remains inconclusive as to whether human activities affect the global climate.
Today has much really changed. Keith McCoy sums up President Biden's fight against the climate crisis in a one-word insult.
So, Biden administration, you're looking to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 50 gigatons? That's insane.
Sometimes public, mostly private. Keith McCoy says ExxonMobil's strategy is all about doing anything, everything, so it can go on doing one thing: pumping oil and gas to make money.